Lads,
There we
right.
go.
So I have a confession to make. I am painfully hungover, right? First and foremost. Second of all, this is what happens when I'm left alone, right? My missus has took the kids out. She took them to a fun park with the family. And I impulsively decided to fucking paint the bathroom a different colour and just decided to go a bit mad with a bit of a green colour. And when I say it looks possibly the worst thing ever, my missus is going to come home in about an hour and go, "What have you done to the lads? It looks so bad. Please help me. I'm in a whole world of pain here."
What are you doing? Hungover, drinking, and then deciding that's like the worst combination of things ever.
Mate, I'm really struggling here. You know, like when you've
you get no help
to
from me. You get nothing from me. You owe me an apology.
Oh, go on.
Losing your head.
So,
thumbs up
on.
Emoji.
Well, no, I was absolutely fine. I was not rattled at all. I wasn't. The only issue I had was you were clearly trying to get me to bite. I didn't bite.
Not you.
What do you mean? Not me?
No, it wasn't aimed at you. If you think that was to you, then it was just in general. And the reason I was doing it, because I didn't have any way of protecting myself, sticking up for myself in the week, because I was banned for the whole week. So everyone's giving me fucking shit, and I can't say anything back.
So you take it out on me?
Not you. It's just you think it's about you. And not Liverpool is you.
So okay, for those that haven't seen our Twitter exchange over the last 24 hours, give them the context, Jim, of you, by the way, sending a screenshot of a tweet and putting it on Twitter. Why would you do that?
Just so everyone can see, just so everyone is fully aware.
You retweeted, he's
fully everywhere. So everyone is fully aware that you had lost your head. So what it was is, obviously I said about the Liverpool team not getting into the city, and I've not been able to defend myself all week. I'm getting pelters on TikTok, I'm getting pelters on Twitter, and then I finally managed to do something. And to be fair, I went about 60 minutes a bit too early. To be fair, I was just backing up, saying people were trying to tell me Trent and Van Dijk would get into the team after they'd had 20 minutes of torture.
Trent who ran the game in the second half.
Jimmy, let's not get into Trent, because if you've seen that kid's highlights from the game and his stats, it's off the charts, mate.
No, as I said, I went about 60 minutes too. I went about 60 minutes too early. So, but then you lost your head and gave me. I always know I've won when you give a thumbs up emoji. If you get a thumbs up, it's game over. Thank you. Good night.
How do you know I wasn't doing the reverse where I wanted you to think that, and I just wanted the conversation?
Tell me that. Swear on your kid's life. That's what happened.
Jamie, I'm going to say something right, and I never thought right, but I must have. I've got to side with Jimmy.
Jimmy, you and Jimmy together. What is going on?
I just have to shout. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, fucking nice one, lad. Nice one. Yeah, thumbs up, lad.
Okay, it was a little bit rattled. Tank, what's going on in your world? Hopefully a little bit more relaxed than my terrible 24 hours here.
Why have the match right now? It's been chilled, mate. We went to watch Jack Saturday. A really good game. Coventry, who they played early on of the season, who were a really physical, fucking like proper big physical side. And I said to Jack then, I said, you got a little bit out battled, and that's like a red flag to a bull with Jack. So he was brilliant. He should have scored. He fucking hell. His mate, the left wing back, he's a good player, put an absolute belt in. Bit like Trent to Firmino. When our Jack has made a midfield run like a fucking salmon rolls, bullet header, lads, the keeper has pulled. Honestly, I'll have to get it and I'll put it in the WhatsApp group. He's pulled an absolute worldie. He's like 4 yards out, and he's flipped it like from the top corner over the bar. Unbelievable save. And Jack's head had gone. He's not scored this season, because he normally plays at Oldham Road, but they give him a bit more freedom Saturday, and he should have scored and got brought down for a pen. But yeah, apart from that, mate, quiet really, not done much. Meant to take Frank out today, but the weather is horrendous.
Well, you missed out the probably the proudest dad moments you can have with Jack. You took him a little present there for all his hard work.
Yeah, no, I forgot.
Was that a complete surprise? Was that a complete surprise for him?
Yeah. So he's obviously 17, and I kind of fucked myself up because I got Millie a car when she was 17. You know what it's like to expect it. And I've got Frank, who's 4, is actually saying to his mum, Dad, he's getting me a car when I'm old. So I'm already screwed. So, yeah.
Saving, lad.
Yeah. But no, look, to be honest with you, he's... I'm dead proud of him, lads. You know that, because he's moved away. He's literally had 2 weeks. He finished school. He had 2 weeks off. That's it. And he was straight back into, like, you know, basically a full-time job. Moved away from home, and he's just took it all in his stride, and he's been brilliant. So I kind of wanted to do it anyway. So we just, me and the missus drove down to the place where he lives and just surprised him. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, did he have no idea he was getting a car?
No, he's just been sending me, like, for months, cars from Auto Trader on my phone. This is nice, Dad. This is nice, Dad. I'm like,
subtle. It's like my missus with engagement rings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Loads of pictures lying around.
Yeah, so that was a nice car, and I got a bit of, a nice deal on it. So yeah, just thought I'd treat him.
Fair play. Right, lads, football. There's not much for us to talk about, Jimbo, is there? No controversy over the course of the weekend.
Nothing happened this weekend. All went smoothly. Nothing to chat around.
Well, you're up, lad. Predictions first and foremost. How are we looking?
Yeah.
I feel like I've had an absolute stormer there.
You've had a great week, mate, to be fair.
I think I've had a great week as well.
You know what? We've all had an absolute belting week,
Really?
At all 3 of us.
Tank made a good point yesterday. He's like, how do I predict games, perfect scores, but my accumulators are absolutely dog shit?
Yeah.
How does that work out?
No idea, mate. You might want to
go on, Jimbo.
Try. So we went into this week, the scores, going into this week, the scores was I was on 27, Tank was 33, you were on 38.
I love that Tank's writing this down.
So I
just got a message off my horse trainer. I'm just reading that, sorry.
So you got 11 points this week, Homo, with 3 correct results.
Yes, mate, that is some going.
Predicted United, Everton, Villa, Forest, Brentford, Newcastle. Tank, you got 8 with 2 correct scores in Villa, Forest, and Wolves, Chelsea. And then 2 other correct results. I got 10 with 2 correct scores. Right, I got Liverpool, Arsenal, and I got Brentford, Newcastle correct as well. And then I got the correct results in United, Villa, Spurs, and Southampton City. 1 goal off a correct result there. Southampton hadn't scored, I had 4-0. So I go in with 10, Tank 8, Jamie 11, which takes us to, I'm on 37, Tank 41, Jamie 49.
It's quite close between you two there, not going to lie.
That's just 1 result, isn't it?
Tank was giving it the big one, and Jimmy's closing the gap now.
The thing he done him, didn't he? The Liverpool result.
That Liverpool Arsenal, absolutely. When I tell you what, mate, my best mate was Aaron Ramsdale when he made them saves. I was absolutely buzzing.
Well, we'll start with Liverpool Arsenal because there's loads that I want to dive into, right? And first and foremost, Tank, it was kind of like a microcosm of nice word, of Liverpool's season in a way, because look, I'm not afraid to admit it. Like, I was having a full-on tantrum in the WhatsApp group after the first 20 minutes because it was like, it's like Liverpool didn't care. It's, basics in football is don't. And how many times have we seen it? Liverpool give away soft goals, and then all of a sudden the game goes away from them. Then all of a sudden it was Granit Xhaka giving it the big one. Like, that changed the game. Why did they not learn from Arteta doing it last season when he gave it the big one on the sideline and the atmosphere just changed? It was the tale of 2 halves then, and Liverpool really stepped up. And to be fair, it was just a bloody good game to watch, wasn't it, all things considered?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable game of football to watch. But you talk about Liverpool first half. I solely point the finger at Jurgen Klopp. Because every man and his dog, and every Liverpool fan who I spoke to and on social medias and yous and other lads to speak to, everyone was saying, why the fuck's he playing Jota and Curtis Jones? Okay, Curtis Jones done 1 little backflip, but apart from that, he was fucking dreadful. He got dispossessed from the ball every time he touched it. Jota is gone, lads, is gone. I like Jota when he was, when he scored in the goals, he's great because that's what he does. But he doesn't do anything else. He's no threat, really. He's just, for me, an out-and-out goal scorer. So I solely put that down to Jurgen Klopp and, like, I just felt like people would have been going to the stadium thinking, I can't believe the fucking side he's picked. And this is where I think I put into the, and I've said it on here a few times, I think Klopp needs to reset himself. Because he's been shocking this season. We point fingers at players, and the players have let him down a lot. I understand that, but confidence is a bad thing. But his selection and substitutions in many, many games, if not all games, I think in fucking half fucked Liverpool up as well. You can't go into that game with players bang out of form like Jota and bring Curtis Jones in. I mean, it's just Curtis Jones gets in no other Premier League side, none. He would not start for any Premier League side in this league for me. Not a chance. And I just think once he started tweaking it and he brings on the fucking proper players like Thiago and Nunes, like Nunes must have nudes or must have accidentally sent nudes of himself to Klopp's wife, because I've no idea what that lad does. He brings him off after 60 minutes every game. He doesn't start him in big games, and he's our biggest threat.
It's funny, Jim, because I look at it, and you know this from a striker's perspective. I said it before. I know I'm a big Nunes fan, right? I've never hidden that. But Tank does make a good point. I felt like the team selection nearly played into Arsenal's hands a little bit. In that, at least with Nunes, he looks to run in behind, so he stretches people. He gives them a problem. Whereas I feel like Jota always shows to the ball. Salah doesn't really look to run in behind as much anymore. You've got Gakpo who looks to drop into pockets. So you're kind of a little bit blunt. And you're looking at that game there. I think it gives Arsenal a little bit of a shot in the arm, to be honest. And then you look at the goal that Liverpool give away. And then Arsenal build up a head of steam, and you could just sense that they were building in confidence. And Liverpool, particularly first 20 minutes, looked all over the shop, didn't they?
In the first 20, I don't know. No one's been able to explain what position Trent was playing, because 1 minute he's in centre mid, but as he's playing centre mid, he's then got a cover at right back as well. So he's doing the job of two people. Now, Canate was trying to cover for him, but then eventually had to make his way back over there. So he's literally, so he must be fucked. Like and then they reset it after 20, and
It looked like in the build-up, in possession, he was a double.
In possession, he was playing centre mid, but defensive, he's got to go out to the right back. So he's doing doggies basically, because in possession he's got to find himself in that position, and then out of possession he's got to get himself there. So the second goal came from it because he's had to go out. He looks fucked. Or it was a simple ball over the top, and Martin, especially against Martinelli, who's one of the informed wingers, quick. Yeah. Skillful. That is not something that you want to be doing. So I think that was a baffling decision, and whoever decided that would to be the play. But
Jimmy,
I'll be honest.
Sorry to interrupt you, mate. Don't you think that this goes back to the...
Look at you two. Sorry, mate. Nice one, mate. Agreeing at the start of the podcast. What's going on here?
I'm in a good mood today, aren't I?
Look how happy Jimmy is that he's friends with Tank. Look how happy he is.
Tank's got some money, that's it.
I'm
going to have to have a word with Sharon every Monday, any chance.
Do you know, on a serious note, lads, like, this is where I go with Klopp again, and I blame Klopp for that first half. I put everything on him, because I'm watching that and I'm thinking, this is not the game where you experiment with fucking Trent Arnold coming into centre midfield. Arteta must have been going, what the fuck? We've got the most dangerous, and by the way, he is the most dangerous wide player in European football. Have you seen his stats?
Him and Vinicius are the two.
It's ridiculous. I'll tell you what we'll do then. We're struggling like fuck. Our confidence is on the floor. Why don't we, out of possession, in possession, bring Trent in and leave the most dangerous winger in world football a free roll to hit us on the counter-attack? What a fucking good idea that is. Hang on a minute, Jürgen, you fucking strap on. Surely your staff must be saying, boss, that's a bad idea.
If anything, he must have worked on it in training, though, and he must have gone, yeah, this is the one, lads.
Counter-attack. You can't work on counter-attack.
Well, I'm
give the ball away. That's what they're meant to do.
I agree.
Are there and go, give me the ball. Give me the ball.
100% agree, wholeheartedly. So that's why it makes it more baffling, because I bet they've worked on it and gone, yeah, this is going to work, mint this is. And then they've come to the game and gone, actually, it's probably not a good idea. But you're right. And, people were tweeting. Laura Woods was tweeting at 2-0, like, this is dead and buried, easy this, because she's an Arsenal fan. And I'm like, yeah. The game was gone, lads, at 2-0. If I'm Arteta, I'd be ripping Xhaka an absolute new one. What a bellend. Even all the commentators, one thing you don't do is wake up the Anfield crowd. And that's exactly what he does just by being an absolute willy.
It was funny, right? Because I was looking at the game and it nearly...
I'm back.
You're all right, lad. You're okay. Don't worry. I'll go to Tank while your internet recovers from his little tantrum there. Tank, I'm looking at that game, and it was on the Xhaka moments, and we said it last season when Arteta tried to give it the big one at Anfield, and the crowd responded, and it just took the game away from Arsenal. The game was perfectly in Arsenal's hands. He didn't need to do that. It was so innocuous. He's been so good this season, but he's always got a brain fart in him, and it made Anfield the cauldron again. And you can just see, look, Liverpool aren't in good form. They're not the side that they were. There's clear problems. But when that stadium gets behind the team, strange things happen. We've seen it time and time and time again. And that was just another one of those examples where Anfield answered and the game just started to go away from Arsenal then, didn't it?
It's daft because, as you say, he's an idiot, Xhaka, isn't he? Let's get it right. I mean, he is an absolute fucking dickhead of a player, and he will you play on him. If you were in opposition, you play on him. If I was playing against him, I'd be fucking pinching him and pulling his armpit here and fucking kneeing him in the arse and everything, standing on his toes, because you will get a reaction. But what I didn't understand with that Trent one is there was actually no need to do. There was no needle between them, and for me, it wasn't so much the Anfield crowd when he woke up. He fucking woke Trent up.
Yeah, he got him.
Because he started playing balls and pinging over the top and balls down the line and switching playing. You were like, I think Gary Neville said in comment, I like this side of Trent. We've never seen this. It kind of like got Trent a little bit angry and was like, fuck you. And then I thought, I've got to say, lads, he takes a lot of stick for his defensive stuff when, for me, and I tweeted this, Virgil van Dijk has been a car crash all season, 10 times worse than fucking Trent Arnold defensively. And I just thought he deserves a special mention because he was world class. Yesterday, he was world class on the ball. And I just thought, as soon as that happened to him, he was like, yeah, now I'm going to take this game to you and show you.
Lads, you know what I feel sorry for? Is Firmino. Like, every time he comes on, he looks dangerous, and he must be seeing Jota starting going, I know he might be off, but fucking hell, still.
That is 11th goal this season.
Mate, even when he came in, early doors, when Núñez got the red card, he scored in all the games, didn't he? He must be going, fuck me, like, I either go now and get it over and done with, or can't come soon enough because I'm not getting a chance. But every time he comes on, he does stuff.
And do you know what it is, though, Jim? It's not just the goals. He's such a clever defender from the front, if you want, is a better word. Like the way he closes down, he's a midfielder's dream because if you zim it into him, he's gonna stick. He's gonna make it stick. He's got little clever pops around the corner. He just gives us such respite. I think he's one of the most underrated players in Liverpool's history because I genuinely think he's absolutely pivotal to so much of our success. But I do still think it's the right time for him to move on. But
no, I agree. But
at that stage of his career,
I don't
keep him, would you?
I don't. I look at the impact of what he's making, and he's got 11 goals this season. Not being funny.
I think he wants to start more, though, doesn't he? He'll want to start more.
I get it, and it is his decision. But for me, I'd be keeping him for another season. I mean, we're talking about James Milner another contract at 36 because of his attitude and application. Well, I'm not being funny. There's no better attitude or for Gakpo to learn off than Bobby Firmino. I mean, his attitude is fucking unbelievable. Every game he works his bollocks off. You've never read a bad article about him, or he's never had a bad reaction. He's only 31, isn't he? And I just think personally, he'd be one where I'd be pushing to get another year. Not the likes of Milner and players like that. I'd be pushing to get him another year. And if you're going to get if they're going to get young Bellingham, it's everyone's pipe dream. If you're surrounding Bellingham with players like fucking Bobby and that, to learn the professional side, I don't think there's anyone better to learn off.
Jim, I want to come to you on something that Tank touched on there, right? The one thing that really got my back up yesterday, and this is something that I've said throughout the course of this season, Neville and Tyler and the lads in the studio, Banterville is back, and like Neville and Tyler in the first half. Were they now? Because you're obviously not a Liverpool fan. It sounded like they were literally willing Liverpool to lose the game. The response and overreaction at one point, right? Virgil van Dijk, he took the man down because he beat him, and they were going on. Like, I know Van Dijk has not been good this season, but the reaction, these stupid noise that Gary Neville makes, like, I just find them so difficult to listen to. And bear in mind, they ripped Trent Alexander-Arnold in the first, like, ripped him to shreds. And then about 20 minutes later, they're waxing lyrical about him, about he's the greatest player on the ball creator. You have to get him in your team. I find them absolutely unbearable. And I include Carragher in this, by the way, Jim, because did you hear? I think it was when Ramsdale made a brilliant save to Konate, and it was literally just they just started making sound effects, and it's like, what are we listening to here?
I think they're trying to give it as in, I know what you're saying. It's more like it's like the old. Remember when Sky used to have fan TV, the fan zone or whatever, and used to watch two supporters commentating. Yeah. I think they want sound bites like that. But I'll be honest, I didn't listen to it intently. I was with the father-in-law. We're a family, so we're talking as the game goes. I'm not really listening to it. But the one that's got my goat up the biggest is Roy Keane. So Roy Keane deliberately ended someone's career because they called him a diver, right? Deliberately ended someone's career. And then he's calling Andy Robertson a big baby because he got elbowed in the face. Yeah. Nice one, Roy. And you're not a big baby by ending someone's career because he called you a diver. That, to me, and everyone's laughing in this, everyone loves Roy Keane. Oh, let's all laugh at Roy Keane. He's the biggest hypocrite ever, Roy Keane, at me. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes he's funny and it's, but when it's stuff like that, I don't think it does. Do they not remember how they were as players? Especially Roy Keane. If you see some of the picture, I mean, in the referees' faces and stuff like that, because he's saying, Robertson was in the linesman's face and whatnot. He was one of the worst at doing it. So that's what really gets my goat, is people that are just totally hypocritical of the way they played, and it's all different now. But from a commentator's point of view, it's always the same, innit? And, Neville, Carragher, put them all in there.
They're all playing a character, though, Jim.
Yeah, there's not.
You compare him to Peter Drury, right? Peter Drury's the one for me who, like, loves his job, is researched. Like, he's not interested in this soundbite nonsense. Like you said, Keane, there, it's like they're all playing a role now. And it just, for me, it's actually taken away from the game rather than adding to it.
Yeah, there's no analytical, because everyone knows who everyone supports. When you bring old players in, everyone knows who your affiliation is because you played for that club, no doubt, for a long time. But even if they didn't, they openly then start admitting who their affiliation with, and it's often biased towards that. There's very few that are quite, Gary Neville used to be really measured, actually, and he's kind of just taken it too far. He used to be, and I don't, and there's few and far between where I can think of where I go, yeah, you're good, you are. But there's some I like listening to, and some I don't. Darren Bent, I think,
is the best one around.
Ali McCoy's brilliant. I love him
because
he's funny as well.
He's funny, but he's got the balance right.
Yeah,
there's a bit of humour there, but he's an exceptional co-commentator. And I watched the thingy this morning because when you sent it, Jamie, I've got to be honest with you, I wasn't really aware of the Tyler thingy, but when you put it in Neville thing, and when you put it in, I listened to Liverpool's equaliser. It's embarrassing. It's like they can't stand the fact that they've scored the goal. It was like on Bobby Firmino, and then there's nothing for ages. There's no commentary, and you were like, if that's Jesus, it's Jesus, and he's took the title away from possibly his former club, but it's just Bobby Firmino and nothing. And you're like, for me,
both crying in the stands,
yeah, both devastated, like throwing the papers around it, and it is. It's like I think you can tell that the fucking Man U fans, to be brutally honest with you.
What did you make of the Robertson thing? Because obviously we've got to talk about it.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up I've seen some stuff from the likes of Simon Jordan. I've seen some stuff from old referees, and I've seen is it Martin Samuel from the Daily Mail?
Yeah,
that fucking absolute bellend. Now, some of the stuff what's been written where he's saying he's lucky the linesman, other linesmen would be saying, "Go on, Stone, stick it on him." Let's just put the facts as the facts are as we see them. What that linesman done, he should be fucking banned for life, forever officiating in a game. That's a fact. There's, Mitrovic got an 8-game ban for just tugging on a linesman's shoulder. He's actually threw his elbow up. That's not a natural reaction. Don't tell me that's a natural reaction. He's a big fella, by the way, the linesman as well. And Robbo has just touched him, like brushed his arm as if to say, hey, and he's gone bang. So if you're telling me that that's a natural reaction, you're a fucking liar. And for Martin Samuel, I'm going to say it again, he should be fucking sacked from his job.
Everyone's getting it. Everyone's getting it.
He needs sacking, mate. So if you're writing something like that,
Thanks
that
on the
other
sack
referees and lads will be saying, "Go on, my son." But you need to get your big fucking fat head sacked. He needs sacking for that, and the linesman should never officiate a game of football again.
It is a bad one, Jim. And this is where I found the whole Keane thing. Just everything around this was odd because, there's one thing. Let's be honest, referees, linesmen, they get dogs abuse. There's one thing you need to look at here, right? And this isn't, I'm not a conspiracy theorist in any way, shape, or form, right? But Liverpool have history with Paul Tierney and what's his name? Clementine or whatever the bloody, I can't even remember the linesman's name, right? But they were they were officiating when Liverpool played Tottenham last season, and Harry Kane should have got a red card. And there's a bit of I think it was Robbo did get a red card, didn't he, in that game?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of history there. I'm sure that Robbo was no shrinking violet, and that linesman was on his side. So Robbo has probably been giving him a bit, but under no circumstances. They set the bar for the rules. You can't then break them. And I think with the Mitrovic thing, there's been a line in the sand here. They made a stand.
Yeah.
So it has to be similar.
It's severe. It needs to be fair. At least 8 to 10 games like Mitrovic. To be sacked is harsh. The only reason I say it's...
Jimmy, if you elbows him and work, would he sack you?
It depends on if he's tried. So the only thing
that I will sack him work if you elbowed the customer in the face.
Yeah, but my point is, you say he's only brushed his arm, but he has touched his arm, hasn't he? He's gone to touch his arm, and he will defend. And the natural position of defence would say he's grabbed his arm, he's tried to get him off. That's what their defence will be. I'm not saying it's right.
If you get someone off, you do that.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying if this was a court of law and this is that's the way that the defence would argue that case. And in theory, they will have a case because whether it's right or wrong, there's people who get off with things left, right, and centre for, things that might not seem what they are, but what they look like. So that's the only thing where I say I don't want him sacked. I want him severely punished because you can't do that. You can't do that. But I don't think it's an outright sacking because of the role in what Robertson played in, slightly brushing his arm.
So I want to come to more officiating stuff now, right?
Plenty of it.
Jesus,
all day.
I know. So, Tank, we have been doing this podcast a while, and we've never been fans of the boys in Stockley Park and the infringement, like the way that VAR is impacting a game. And I was actually chatting to my cousin yesterday, and he made a good point. He's like, when you see decisions like happen to Brighton in the Tottenham game, and it's hard. Again, here's me for a non-conspiracy theorist. I'm going to talk about another conspiracy theory here. But he made a point. It's like when you see the state of some of these decisions, it does beg the question. It's like, is something underhand happening here that like these decisions are that inexplicably bad? I mean, those Brighton ones, this is a multi-million-pound game for them because they're going for top 4. They're trying to get into Europe. Brighton are a decent team with good players. They did enough to get a result from that Tottenham game.
Easy, yeah.
I cannot believe that they have given the decisions that they have. Like, we're not just talking one here. There's 2 or 3 decisions that are genuinely. I think it was the handball. I can kind of see. I can kind of see that
it's
one.
It's hard to make out. It's close. Like,
yeah, that's the one. I'm like, look. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
Lads,
The other two,
you've just hit the nail on the head. It's hard to work out. Well, it's not clear and obvious. So
benefit the doubt, benefit. But
out.
If it's not clear and obvious, they shouldn't have checked.
Clear and obvious mistakes. And you two have just sat there saying, the handball, is it? Well, don't get involved. Stay out. Because if it's not,
but then it wouldn't have been given anyway, though, because he gave it for handball as a linesman, doesn't it? So you want them to rectify that decision. So in theory, that was penalty. Right.
Listen,
that's the worst decision I think.
It's outrageous, lads. I mean, it's got to be. Jamie, I think you've touched it. It's got to be some form of cheating, at a high level somewhere down the line. That Brighton side have gone to Tottenham, and they should have won the game. It's okay that then this dickheads who if they'd listened to me, they'd have been sacked a couple of weeks ago, but they didn't do it. They should have listened to me.
You are ruthless. And they tagged to be the boss. Sacked.
All right. Spill some water.
I'd love to be Jimmy's boss because I'd sack him, but then I'd employ him again and then just keep sacking the wanker. But on a serious note, I mean, come on. So Brighton have apparently written to the Premier League and the powers that be at Stockley Park on 5 decisions, which they said, we can't explain why you've given them decisions. But then this Howard Webb and that they've wrote a letter of apology.
No, the apologies are back. Sorry, lads.
Go and shove that up your ass, you baldy bastard, because you potentially cost us a top 4 spot. That's a huge result for Brighton. Can you imagine if they come away with 3 points there to win at Tottenham away? That is some lift, boys. And they've got 2 games in hand. They're rolling into the last 9 games of the season on a crest of a wave, and it's been swooped from under the feet. It's absolutely scandalous. It's scandalous.
Yeah, it does beg the question, Jim. Like, what is going on? Because I remember, and I've said it before. There's a couple of decisions that went back against Liverpool. I think it was the Merseyside derby, and Henderson scored a goal. And I've never actually got over that. Being given us offside and taking that moment away. And I swear, I know it sounds dramatic. I have a tendency to be a little dramatic at times, particularly when I'm hungover. But a little bit of a fan died with me that day, as in, like, I could see that football was changing immeasurably and going in a direction that I didn't want it to go. And it's very hard not to look at, like, what's the point, Jim? Like, what's the point here? If you're a Brighton fan or player or coach who's been working towards a goal and it gets taken away from you for somebody being so incompetent, what's the point of us doing this whole football thing, to be dramatic, if you just can't get the basic decisions right?
And so it's 2 things for me. It's either outright conspiracy theory that, it's garnered towards the supposedly big 6, which I don't want to believe at all. Or it's gross ineptitude that they just can't get decisions right, and both are just as bad. So, like, it's one or the other. So, the second penalty, I can understand why the ref can't give that, because it's happened so quick. 2 feet land on the ground, and it supposedly looked like it's a dive. That's fine.
It looks
fine. I can understand that, right? Yeah. I'm not blaming the referee in any way, shape, or form on that decision at that point. VAR looked at it for like 4 or 5 seconds. Didn't even give it the light of day. And every single person other than VAR have come out. I've not seen anyone say that isn't a penalty. Not one.
I'm pretty confident that if my missus, who doesn't give a bollocks about football, if she watched that, she'd go, "Oh yeah, that's a penalty." That.
Yeah, it's a penalty. Stood on him. Stood on his foot. Surely that's a penalty. Stopped him moving. So how did it take longer than 5 seconds? And how did it come to that decision? Absolutely blows my mind, because it's literally slowed down to the point where you see his foot land with force, because they're both coming down, and they can't come to the same decision as every other person. So it's either cheating or gross ineptitude, because, and as I said, both are as bad as each other. And it's not the first time. It's not the first time we're coming to this decision where we're going, I don't know what it is. And it's just, sorry, lads, we fucked up on that one again. Right, we'll see you again next week. So it's, where do you go?
something that in the weird world of football, Tank, that also makes no sense to me is the managerial merry-go-round that is happening at the moment, right? So I want to come to you on this one first. How does Frank Lampard continue to get jobs in football? How has he managed to land this Chelsea job, albeit to the end of the season, right? But nothing makes sense to me anymore. How are Chelsea looking at this going, right, okay, let's sack Tuchel. Let's bring in what's his face? Graham Potter. Give him a load of dough, then sack him. Bring Lampard back, who we'd already sacked till the end of the season. Then you're looking at Leicester, who have binned off Rodgers. Then they're looking at getting Jesse Marsh. Or now I've seen Dean Smith. His name has come into. It's like
Dean Smith looks like he's took the job.
Really? So, like, do these make, like, as a footballer, I have no skin in the game with Leicester or, these teams, or certainly not Chelsea. But as a footballer, when you make appointments or you hear who teams are looking at and you go, oh, I don't think that's the solution. Like, it doesn't make sense, any of these decisions to me.
The Lampard one, you might think I'm mad here. I get it. I get it. For
the hero return kind of thing.
It's like a Steven Gerrard's coming to Liverpool to try and save them. But what I will say is he's already had a go. Now he's still got a lot of credit in the bank with a lot of Chelsea fans because he actually done all right there. He was under the transfer embargo. He brought a lot of the young players through. But then when he was allowed to sign players, it was kind of like, he's nowhere near good enough. But I get why they've given it to him because they're just hoping that the club legend, and he is a club legend, he was an unbelievable player there. I just think that they were hoping that they're going to get enough of a lift to try and push up further in the league. But the issue that you had, and I've said this to you when he was at Everton, is Frank Lampard is woeful as a manager, in my opinion, and he's very, very average on the grass. And Jody Morris was his go-to guy at Derby, and he was the go-to guy. Made everything tick at Derby and was an outstanding coach on the grass. And there's been a bit of a fallout between them, and that's why he's not gone back with him, and he's gone with Ashley Cole. But I get the Lampard one, but it's not going to work because he's bang average at best. And the Leicester one, Jamie, honestly, it's bizarre. You look at football now, and you look at some of the managers who's flopped heavily. This American fella, Jesse, is like, his agent must be absolutely unbelievable. He must be the greatest agent because he was basically offered the Southampton job, but he wanted a longer deal, and that was just after he'd fucked up at Leeds. And he was basically offered the Leicester job, but turned it down.
He must be good at an old job interview, him.
He must be. What the Yanks are like. They can talk shite for England. If any Americans are watching here, I do like you, but you talk shit. And your portions are massive. But that aside,
that's what she said.
It's jobs for the boys, isn't
it? Jimbo, I want to finish on a topic that it's a tough one, right? And make sure you get their name right, please, because just to give you a heads up,
Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest. We're going to talk about Forest. I'm going to come to you first. It seems like we got a tweet that came in. I'll pull it up here. It was basically to do with a little bit of negative backlash from Forest fans towards Brennan Johnson. Nottingham Forest are in the bottom three now, having lost 4 of the last 5 games. It's looking a little bit hairy, and it's a surprise for me. I mean, Tanks, and he'll talk about it in a minute, has spoke glowingly about Johnson on this podcast. Thinks he's got a massive future. I've seen little noises online, a few Liverpool fans saying they'd love to take a punt on him if Forest were to go down. There's big clubs probably taking a look at him. Strange one for me to see that maybe some fans are turning on particularly him, but players given all that Forest fans or all the Forest have achieved under this manager, and they're still in with a shout of staying in the league.
They're not in the bottom 3, are they? So,
No, they are. They are.
Yeah. Oh, are they? Okay. Yeah. By what? A point or
two? Well, the same points with Everton. Yeah, same points with Everton. So the bottom top 4.
I mean, when Forest were in their green runner form a couple of months ago, a month or so ago, the crowd was the biggest catalyst for that. We all saw the City Ground absolutely rocking. We saw the City ground rocking. Everyone was on board, and they got them 3 or 4 wins that got them up to, and seemingly everyone was like, yeah, they're on this run now, and they're out of it. Having looked at the Liverpool game yesterday, remember Everton last year, the crowd play a massive part in any relegation battle. Leeds did it last year. They got saved by a point on the last day of the season. And these crowds are the one that rile them up. Liverpool yesterday were dead and buried until the crowd woke up. Trent woke up and the crowd got going. And then they didn't stop going on for the next remainder of the game, for the second half continuously, and dragged that team to where they were. So it baffles me where fans think this will get him going. Me telling him to fuck off and you shit and yeah, this is going to work. Because why would it? Look at Anthony Gordon at Everton. He obviously, a lot of the players there, when it happened to them, they weren't pleased with it, and you're not going to be running through brick walls for that. But that crowd is absolutely going nuts at every tackle, every opportunity. You're going to want to absolutely run through brick walls to get out of that. So they need to understand, and this is regardless if it's 18,000 or 200. As soon as you start getting on them players back, you've lost the players. Regardless of how much you're getting paid, who you play for, because you're still human, regardless of how much training, all that. So I think it blows my mind that people think, yeah, this is what is needed in this moment in time. The real struggle, backs against the wall, we need to galvanise, but we'll start slagging some of the players off and get Cooper out as well. So,
Tank, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because you look at it, like, let's be honest here, Aston Villa are in an unbelievable bit of form. What a job Emery has done! Like, what a job! I think this is the highest they've been in the league all season. They put some unbelievable run of form together. Ollie Watkins is one of the form strikers in the league. Like, Nottingham Forest going away to Aston Villa and losing a game is not the end of the world. It's not an easy place to go at the moment. They're arguably the form team in the league. It seems strange. I think, as an outsider looking in, Forest fans need to pick the battles. No, this does not feel like the type of game where you should be turning on your fans. And like Jimmy said, if they're to have any chance of staying in this league, you need everybody together on the same hymn sheet to nearly drag Forest through games. Certainly in the games at home when they're going to need the support of the fans.
Yeah, it's because obviously Dave Johnson, I played with him, he's a mate of mine, and Brennan, as a kid, he was never out of our house, and he's the same age of Millie, and so it's a difficult one. But what I will say is, it's a small minority, like every football club has them. Let's get it right. Now, Brennan Johnson's gone over to clap the fans and say thank you for coming there, and a small minority being told to fuck off, you this, that, and the other are calling him, and John O sat in the stands with his son. Now, it's okay for everyone to sit there and say, well, his dad shouldn't say anything, we're entitled to our opinion. Well, let's use the roles reversed then, because if that's your son on the pitch and you got some fans in the crowd telling him to fuck off, you useless cunt, this, that, and the other, fuck you, go on, fuck off. Brennan Johnson's been Forest's best player this season. Brennan Johnson is Forest's best player. He's come through the academy his rise, as we spoke about this in the podcast before, it's rapid. He was playing for 2 seasons ago. He was playing for Lincoln in League One. Found his feet, went up a level, was superb. Last season, started slowly in the Championship, found his level. I think he scored 18 goals. Again, rapid rise again, helps get Forest promoted. He's been Forest's best player this season and is Forest's top goal scorer and probably Forest's main threat. But it's a difficult situation because Forest, the fans, like everyone, are desperate for Forest to stay in the league. They're on a really difficult slide at the minute. But unfortunately, this is the world we live in, where people think it's okay to call you wankers, fuck off, this, that, and the other, keyboard warriors. That's the world we live in. And the modern day player, and I think we've actually touched on this on the podcast, they need to be educated into this, because you won't stop it. You won't stop it. But Forest as a club needs the whole fan base stick together, the whole place stick together. Jimmy hit the nail on the head. These players are human beings. if you're calling them a cunt and a wanker and fuck you and slaughter them, that affects them. That affects them mentally. It affects the confidence. And one thing what you don't need is your own fans turning on you when you're fighting for your life. You need everyone to stick together. And I keep harping back on this. If somebody had told Forest fans 18 months ago that you're going to be in a relegation battle to stay in the Premier League this time, this season, they'd have thought you were a fucking psychopath. They'd have been telling you to get sectioned because the Forest were bottom of the Championship then. So everything just needs to take a back step, a bit of perspective, and just say, right, we're in this, but we need to do this to get out all together.
You've seen it, Tank, in dressing rooms. I'm sure you've probably been on the end of it yourself. What impact does it add on, whether it's you personally, where maybe fans... Is there any particular times where you remember where maybe fans have gone on your back a little bit, or is there been teammates where you can remember fans getting on the back? And give us some insight into the dressing room. Like, what impact does it have on players? Because I think people do forget sometimes that, like, they're human beings. Like, as you said there, everyone's got feelings, and it doesn't matter how much media training or how much kind of coaching you can have on this side of things. There might just be a day where it does get to players.
It does get to you. I had a period of Forest where, I was the main player for a long time there, and I just went through a bad spell where you just can't seem to do. You think stuff when you're playing and you're flying, everything's on instinct. You just pop a ball off, you make your runs, and it's just all flowing. But I had a spell, and I was getting quite a lot of stick of Forest, and I was like thinking, well, hang on a fucking minute, I scored 11 goals last season. And but the fans, they're there. You've got to take it. And it was just a trigger moment. And it was against Burnley. And I smashed one in the top corner against Burnley. And I was actually like, it was a fuck you moment. But you do. Now, I had the other side of it when I went to Leicester, where no matter what I'd done, I was booed every single game. My name used to get read out at Leicester. And I'd get booed by the home fans. Because I come from Forest and was never accepted. So, it'd be like number 3 Alan Rodgers. And then the home fans would boo. And that happened for 18 months of my career there.
Deserved.
I know. But it has a massive effect. Now, I went to Leicester and I never set the world alight. We got promoted back to the Premier League, but I never set the world alight. But why would I want to?
No. Yeah.
Why would I want it?
What people don't realise is, and I've always had fans on my back just because of the way I played, but you go in your shell because you're thinking, I don't want to do anything that then warrants them to start doing. So Brennan Johnson will be thinking next game, I'm going to do everything simple because I don't want them to get on my back. Because the moment I try something, if I try a step over and it goes absolutely dog, and I know they're all going to be going, fuck's sake, they're straight onto you. So you're just like, try and keep it simple. So then you start thinking about it too much, so much, and your game's gone. You're gone just because you go in. I don't want to upset them people again. So that's why people think it's. And I understand people want to vent frustration. I get it. I do get it, of course. But you've got to understand their point of view. If anyone's ever, and everyone in any walk of life would have been bollocked anywhere, just think about what you felt like after that.
Lads, that's all the stuff that we've got on the agenda for today. And I didn't, because I'm in a whole world of pain with my hangover, and I've got
paint on your hands as
now.
well. By the way, could have washed your hands.
Paint on my hands. I've got to try. Like, my missus is going to be back any minute. She's going to walk up into that horrendous looking bathroom. I'm going to get absolute dog's abuse. So I didn't even put out the usual question where I'm like, hey, is it the usual tweet where I'm like, has anyone got any questions? So I've missed our usual food-based questions to finish the podcast, unfortunately. But Jimbo, you got much on for the rest of the week?
Yeah, mate, golfing Thursday. Bit of golf. Well, I'm meant to be golfing Thursday. The missus is off this week. She has half-term teacher, so I think she's trying to put some plans in. But yeah, golfing Thursday, and then that's it, mate. Eating a million Easter eggs that we've got to get through.
Oh yeah, I've got the kids. The kids did the old Easter egg hunt yesterday. They loved that. I think my daughter actually prefers Easter, I think, to Christmas. She absolutely loves chocolate. What about you, Tank?
Yeah, I've got a busy week, mate. Jack's got a cup game tomorrow in a semi-final against Accrington. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to Aintree Races. My horse might be running on the Thursday or the Saturday. Not too sure when. So if he goes, that's the thing, Jamie. Fucking hell. And I'll speak to you later over that offline.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
the intrigue for the listeners.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, and then I'm going to Colchester. Jack's got Colchester away on Saturday, so I'll be driving down Friday because it's bizarre. Don't understand why academies do it. Like Colchester's 3 hours 40 from me, and it's 11 o'clock kickoff.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going down Friday night and just crashing at hotel and go there and then bring them home.
Any tips then for if the horse runs? Because I didn't get to put the money on last time. I'm not falling for that mistake again. So I am definitely going to be put. Which horse is running?
I've just had a message off the trainer there, mate. So I don't think he's going to be running. So on Thursday. So I don't know. He's entered Thursday, Saturday. But then I'll speak to you lads offline in a minute.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep this one to ourselves. If it looks like your horse is going to run, we'll put it up on the old Twitter account because you got a lot of listeners some money last time, so we need to keep the trend going. What's up, Jimbo?
Why does a transgender man only eat
Jesus
salads?
Christ. Go on.
Because he's a herbivore.
Oh my goodness gracious me! What a way to finish.
Don't get me started on all that transgender bollocks.
Yeah, no. Look, we've done so well, lads. Let's leave
it. I heard it this morning. I stole that off the side, man. I heard it this morning, and I sent it to the WhatsApp. Not this one to lads, and I don't think they got it because no one laughed, or it just wasn't funny.
Yeah, maybe the second one, Jimbo. Right, boys. Pleasure as always. I'm going to go and lock myself away before my missus gets up. Oh, go on, quick.
Cube. Sorry, lad. I'm just saying. I was cubing it, wasn't I? Anyone who fancies a decent night out, get on that cube in Manchester. It's fucking mint.
As in the game show?
The game show, yeah. So they've got like 8 different cube stations, and you like go through them all and box them off like different ones.
Good, mate, because you were asleep on one of the pictures in the WhatsApp group.
I was asleep towards the end. Yeah, I didn't last very long.
By the way,
listen to this.
Fine for Jimmy Mack for drinking Smirnoff Ice.
Oh, mate, palate cleanser.
Drinking water, wasn't he?
Nah, palate cleanser, little Smirnoff Ice, little palate cleanser, just to get you going, ready for the zombies. on the zombies after. Not my fault, mate. Because listen, I went to my mate's house and we had a few. No, we had a few beers, and then we started on like vodka cokes at 4 o'clock. That's never a good sign.
I can't wait to go out with him. We'll be chucking them up at midday.
Yeah,
on,
happily, lad. I don't mind going to bed at midnight. Like, tuck me up. It's like my sex life, fast and furious, and then I'll be asleep.
The thing with Jimmy Tank is like you'll get him like once he's on the bus, he'll go super fast and aggressive, and you'll get like peak Jimmy for I would say an hour, and then
3. You'll get a good 3 hours out of me, and then
yeah, that's it. Gone. Right, lads, I have actually got to go. So everybody that's listened, thank you very much for your support. If you wouldn't mind leaving us a rating and a review, all that good stuff. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do so. Or if you wouldn't mind, just send a little message to your mate and recommend the podcast. We can see that things are moving in the right direction. We're getting new people each week, and your feedback that we get is amazing. So do keep it coming. Hope you're all looking after yourselves. Be kind to yourselves, and we will be back with you next week on the Boot Room Podcast. All the best.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.